Hey, my friends. Happy Tuesday. It is Jen Pitterbach with By the Shore Stamping, and I'm here this week with another video for you today. This one, actually, I'm not going to do any live stamping for you, but I wanted to share some of my scrapbook pages. So one of the things I hear all the time is that Stampin' Up! Doesn't have any product for scrapbookers. And I just wanted to put that myth to rest because I'm an avid scrapbooker and I love scrapbooking. And I actually started scrapbooking first back in 2000, and now 22 years later, I'm still scrapbooking, and I still love using my Stampin' Up! Supplies to do that. And I think one of the biggest pluses of the Stampin' Up! Product line for scrapbooking is that all of our things coordinate. So our markers, our cardstock, our ink colors, our designer series paper, our ribbons, everything coordinates, and that makes scrapbooking really easy. It makes it kind of brainless. And I think within the last couple of years, when we started introducing the suite collections, that has really even more helped with my scrapbooking, because you can grab one suite of products and you can create a ton of pages, and it makes it really easy too, because the suite collections actually tell you what colors are in the products or in the designer series paper. So you can pull your inks, you can pull your cardstock, and then you can pull the elements from the suite, and that's all you have to bring if you are going to a crop and doing an album or something like that. So I love using one suite collection for an entire album, and then it's no brainer, right? You don't even have to think about it. So let's take a look at a few of my pages, and I tried to keep these current product as much as I can, but I wanted to show you the different ways you can incorporate stamping, because that's the other thing. People are like, well, I don't really stamp in my scrapbooks, and you don't have to. There's plenty of pages here, you might even see a few here, where I don't stamp, but I still use the Stampin' Up! Product to create my pages. One of the first things I love, besides the color coordination, is the fact that we have really good sturdy cardstock. So it's really great as a base level or a base layer, my goodness, for a scrapbook page. This page here, so yes, I used the designer series paper, which this is the Hydrangea Haven paper, which is no longer available, but the key was it coordinated with the stamp set that I used as well. So I stamped this and used the colors that coordinate in the paper, and then I used that as an element. So I love using stamped images as an element on a page. And what's really cool, especially if you're doing an album, you can repeat that feature throughout the album so that it's repeating and you can use it multiple times. You don't have to worry about running out of that particular sticker or that particular letter or anything like that, because you just restamp it again and again in the colors that coordinate with that particular paper that you picked. So you can see here I used that here. I also used the Playful alphabet dies, which are one of my go-tos for scrapbooking, and it's retiring, you guys. This alphabet stamp set or dies set is one that you really want to have. It's retiring right now, so if you're watching this in real time, it is in April of 2022. It will be going away with the new annual catalog that comes out May 3rd. So this is a great one to have, and I'm definitely keeping mine. I may even order an extra in case I lose a couple of letters, but the cool part is it actually has multiples of like the letters you use often, so like E's and S's and A's, there's actually 2 of them, so that when you're die cutting, you don't have to send it through 7 million times. Like some of the letters, if it's got, 2 W's in it or something, you might have to send it twice, but it helps a lot in the production of your page. And then I also used the dies, this little flowers. I die cut them out of the designer series paper and used those on the page as an accent as well. So super simple, and I also used the embellishments that were part of that suite, so everything came from that suite. So that's one of my first tips. This one is actually featuring a die set from years ago that I did not get rid of. I kept it because I keep all of the alphabet letters that I like, because I know I'm going to use them for scrapbooking. So those are not available anymore, but I love them. But I did use our tags. So this is a tailored tag punch, and that one I used for journaling. And I also used our Stampin' Write markers, which are great for journaling, and they come in every color that coordinates with our layouts. So if you're using Highland Heather cardstock, I could have journaled in Highland Heather with my Stampin' Write marker if I wanted to. There's a journal end and a brush end, so that's a really good perk too. But I used our tailored tag punch, say that 5 times fast, and that was what I used for my journaling. That tag is also retiring, so if you like that, you might want to grab it. I love that one. And then this, I used the iridescent jewels, which were also part of this Sweet Talk suite. So it was like the Valentine's suite, but you can see I didn't necessarily use it for Valentine's Day, but it works. So I used the paper, I used the embellishments, and these hearts. This one I cut myself, like old school 3rd grade. You know, you fold your cardstock in half and cut an ice cream cone. That's what I did for this. But these I die cut from the designer series paper and from coordinating cardstock that's in the pattern paper and the dies that were associated with that suite. So you can see that worked really well and it came out really cute. I like this one a lot. So again, you can kind of work things together very easily. So let's go on to another one featuring that same product line, so you can see it's the same paper. I love using my scraps on a scrapbook page too. Same thing here. I used the dies, I used the embellishments, I used the paper. I did not stamp anything on this page. I just used my dies and the pattern paper and let that speak for itself. So you can see there's lots of ways to kind of use the product line, even if you don't want to stamp, right? So even if you're not a stamper, you can still use Stampin' Up! Product to be able to create beautiful scrapbook pages. This one actually features the Beauty of the Earth suite, which is fantastic for my apple pickers. We go apple picking every fall, and so this was perfect, the perfect choice for that. This paper is retiring with the current catalog, so that will be gone at the end of this month if it doesn't sell out before then. But I love coordinating my paper to my photos, and this worked really well. You can see I used the Playful alphabet dies again, and another great perk or another great product for scrapbookers. You can see, I hope you can see, these letters are actually popped up a little bit. I used my foam adhesive sheets when I die cut them so that the cardstock is attached to like dimensional. So it's almost like a dimensional, but they come in square sheets, and then you would cut down to size, run the letters through with the cardstock attached, and then you'd be able to die cut them, and they're kind of puffed up like if they're on dimensional, so you don't have to hand put dimensionals on the back. Like we could use our mini dimensionals on the back of those, but they might be slightly big, so this way I can have it perfect with the letter. And I think I know I have a video. If you go scroll back a little bit, I do have a video about the foam adhesive sheets, so you can see how those work. But I just used some of our baker's twine and made that look like a little banner for both of these pages. And these are our grandchildren, actually. So we have 4 grandchildren, believe it or not. And those are our photos from a couple of years ago, actually, October 2020, when we went to Honey Pot Hill Orchards in Stowe, Mass. So that was a fun day. All right, next up, I have this one here. So this paper is no longer available because it was our early release last month, and I sold a bunch of it. It's really, really pretty. But one of the things I wanted to show you on this is, again, I used some die cuts to add some interest. I also tore my cardstock so it looks like waves, right? So you can see I did it over here too, and then I accented it again with the die cut from the dies, and I added some texture with our linen thread, and I used our stamp set as my title for the page. So all I have to do is add the day, which I have to look up in my agenda, write the day and Martha's Vineyard on there. Actually, no, yeah, this was Martha's Vineyard last summer, and I can put a little bit of accent here too if I want to. And the other thing I did on this one is I used my stamps for a border. I love doing that as well. It makes a great photo mat border, or a border along your page, or a background. If you want to do an all over background, using stamps for that is really good. So my tip for you when you're ordering or when you're buying stamps is to look for stamps that have things that could be used as a title, like this Totally Awesome, or things that could be really good as background stamping. Or the best case scenario is when you can find a stamp set that has good images for backgrounds, and it has good images that you can use for titles and sort of featured elements on your pages. So let's take a look at another one. This one I used a die cut again as a spot for my title. So the title, "You Mean So Much to Me," is actually probably meant for card making, but it works perfect on a scrapbook page too. And then I used my punches to add some elements really quick and fast on this one. And of course I used the Sweet Symmetry paper, which is also retiring, and I added some twine again. I love our linen thread because it's nice and flat, so you can kind of add it to a photo or add it to your scrapbook page and don't have to worry about it making it too bulky. And then I added a little bit of ribbon as well, our denim ribbon. All right, let's check this one out too. So what I mentioned earlier is I love being able to use a suite of products for an entire album. And I didn't bring it over here now. It's not quite finished, and it uses paper that's no longer available. But I will show you that you can use an entire suite to create an entire album. And actually, if you scroll back a little bit on my Facebook page at By the Shore Stamping, you'll see that just recently I started my wedding album, and I'm using the Artfully Composed suite, which is from our mini catalog right now, and I'm using that for the entire album, and that makes it so easy to put together an entire album in a theme, right? So again, if you were going to a crop or you were just kind of working on a project, you could leave it set up. All you would need to gather is the paper, the embellishments, the ribbon, and the stamp set or bundle that goes with that suite, and then the coordinating ink pads and the cardstock, and then you're off and running, right? That's all you would need, and you can create the entire album with just that little stash of product, which I think is really helpful because sometimes we get overwhelmed and we have too many choices, right? So that makes it really easy. So this one is that Sweet Symmetry, which is actually, believe it or not, the same product line as this one. That's this paper as well. So you can get a lot of variety out of it. But I stamped one of the stamps from that image from that suite as a focal point image. I used my foam adhesive dots for my title and my Playful alphabet again. I used some of the pattern paper in the background. And then I, again, added some stamped elements here. And this one was from a different die, but I added that little scallop, and I think I already had those cut, so I just kind of added it to my page because I do have a stash of like stuff that didn't make it on a page or didn't make it on a card. So sometimes I'll steal from that and use that on a page if it coordinates, which this one did. So you can see that those two pages, and now this one as well, are all using this Sweet Symmetry. So if I was doing a family album or something, I could make them all coordinate. And again, I just have to use the same supplies, and I can sit and create until my heart's content without having to worry or make too many decisions, right? So this one is, again, another one. I used the foam adhesive dots, the Playful alphabet, and not the foam adhesive dots, the foam adhesive sheets, which is just popping that title up a little bit with my Calypso Coral cardstock, which is part of the color scheme. Actually, it's the Flirty Flamingo, I lied, which is part of that color scheme in the paper. And then I added another stamped element for my journaling tag, which I haven't finished my journaling. This is our little kitty T, who is very she's very self-centered. She likes to be the center of attention all the time. So that's what this was about. And I added the ribbon that was part of this suite as well. So this one is also retiring. This is in the annual catalog, and this will be gone as of the end of the month. But you can see this Sweet Symmetry collection actually makes some really cool scrapbook pages. Okay, last one I have to show you for you today. This is paper that is no longer available, but I will tell you that we have a new black and white paper coming in the new catalog, so this would be perfect for this as well. I used our Stampin' Blends, which again coordinate with all of our color collections. So I used the So Saffron blends, which is the same color as my title here, and I used I think that one was Shaded Spruce is the color I used there, and I colored my black and white paper just to give it a pop of color, and I got to pick the colors that coordinated with my photo, right? So using black and white paper is a great way to go because you can actually just pull colors right from whatever photos you have, and each page is going to look totally different because the colors will be different, right? So I love that. I also, again, used the foam adhesive sheets for this title, and I die cut this with one of the dies. I love getting the dies that have words. So we've had some that say adventure. This one obviously says forever. We have some that say things that are more generic, cherish, you know, stuff like that, which I love to use as titles on my pages. So this was one that I use or made for our virtual creative escape a couple of sessions ago, but I love this layout so much. And again, I used some of the embellishments, and I used some black ribbon in there as well. So just and our vellum cardstock just to kind of set it off a little bit. So just a few ideas and tips and suggestions for you if you like scrapbooking but think that Stampin' Up! Doesn't have anything for you. I hope this helped you see the light a little bit. And if you are a scrapbooker and you haven't grabbed those Playful dies yet, Playful alphabet dies yet, I would strongly recommend it. I use them all the time. They're really, really good. And I'd also grab yourself some of those foam adhesive sheets because those are perfect too. All right, I hope you liked this scrapbooking themed video this week. If you want more scrapbooking videos, be sure to let me know in the comments below. Or if you have a particular question about scrapbooking with Stampin' Up! Products or just scrapbooking in general, I'd be happy to help. Or card making too. So feel free to reach out. I'm always happy to oblige if I can answer some questions for you. All right. right, I hope you guys have a great week, and we'll see you on Thursday this week for my Facebook Live on my By the Shore Stamping Facebook page. So I hope you'll join me there as well. If you liked this video, go ahead and click the like button, and if you really want to make my day, go ahead and subscribe. Have a great week, and we'll see you next time. Bye!